Hey, everybody, and welcome to the first ever edition of the Chris Rose Rotation. It's all presented to you here on Jomboy Media. And I got to tell you, I am thrilled to be back because it has sucked sitting on the bench the last few months. I am back doing what I love, my passion, baseball, bringing it to you a few times a week. And the thing that, in my opinion, kind of separates the Chris Rose Rotation from other baseball podcasts out there, I've got this rotating group of active major leaguers. So one's going to join me each and every show, not as a guest. I'm not just going to chop it up with him for 10 or 15 minutes, which sounds great. He's going to be my co-host for the entire duration of the program. So we've got 6 great guys representing 6 different teams. We got some contenders, some teams that could surprise us, some favorites. You never know. So let's see who is batting leadoff here on the Chris Rose Rotation here on Jomboy Media. It is none other than the prize free agent acquisition by the New York Mets. He is the true setup man, the former Minnesota Twin, Trevor May. I guess you're considered our opener, huh? Congratulations.
I am. Let's not call it the opener. I like leading off. Opening is not my favorite thing to do, but leading off, I was known for my speed when I was young. So not so much anymore, but I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay. This is going to be awesome. It's going to be totally different. There are a lot of people out there wondering, well, why in the world would an active major leaguer want to do something like this and spread the gospel of baseball? Shouldn't you just be focused on pitching and your video games? And we'll talk about all that sort of stuff, but I am kind of curious. Why are you on board?
Yeah. Well, I'm a big believer in the idea of access to players and creating media on your own. I think that it's really important to do. I think that if it's something that interests you as a player, you shouldn't be shy. You shouldn't shy away from doing these things. You should, be a yes man when it comes to getting these types of opportunities. So I'm a podcaster myself. I love to talk in front of a camera. I'm streaming all the time too. So just made sense. And you know what, Chris Rose, man, you're a huge player in the scene, man. You gotta take advantage of when you get invited by a hard hitter like you gotta say yes to those things. Right. So I'm excited to be able to actually have a place too, where we can really chop it about baseball and, get down to some stuff that people don't even know about and give them an interesting experience.
Yeah, let's just put it this way, Trevor. We don't have to exactly stay in our lane, which is kind of the fun part. We are going to have different segments throughout the show. A little bit later on, we'll be talking about, I got one called GameStop. This is not where you're going to cover how to, short sell a stock or anything. Yeah. It's going to be something totally different with your gaming vibe, which is off the charts if people follow you on social media. Later on, we've got the wheel of semi-interesting things that we're going to spin as well. Yeah.
We got props.
Yeah, we got props and all sorts of stuff. We got a top 3 guest list. I mean, guests are going to be a huge part of this show with other active major leaguers joining us. Not today, because I don't want any of the shine coming off of Trevor May, but I hope you brought your guest list that we'll go over a little bit later. I did. Right?
I got some interesting guys to throw out there. A bunch of options.
Okay, good. If you like them. Are any of them don't tell me yet, but are any of them attainable?
Any of them attainable? In terms of guys who are playing now, I have personal relationships with some of them are. There's a couple of guys that aren't even in baseball, but they are big sports fans. And there's some retired guys that I think that are freshly retired or retired recently that would be, I think, phenomenal on the show as well. So I covered all the bases.
All right, so we'll get to that in a little bit, but let's start off with getting personal. This is something I like to call.
All right.
You were one of the first free agents to sign in the offseason. I think you inked your 2-year deal with the Mets officially on December 1st. So in the year of COVID, kind of paint the backdrop for us. How did this go? Was it weird? Why'd you sign so early?
Yeah, it was weird. I think that no one anticipated anyone to sign for a long time, just because there were so many questions around when the season would start, around financial woes from the last season, from all kinds of other variables, right? And so we anticipated just like hanging out for a while, especially being a reliever. Every team was like, reliever's not really high on our priority list. It was starting pitching and, the normal stuff from every year. And it's my first time as a free agent. So I kind of just got to go with what people tell me. But it happened so quickly, especially with the Mets. They came in, we had tons and tons of conversations with a bunch of different teams, just kind of, throwing it out there. They wanted to know what I was looking for, what the types of things, the type of guy I was. And it was that we were there pretty much with every team that we had talked to. And there was a good number of them. And for a long time, it just never progressed past anything. And then just one day, the day before Thanksgiving, the Mets called and basically just want to step up from that. Like immediately they said, would you be around there? We're like, wow, that's actually kind of getting closer to what we wanted to end up at. So let's push here and see what's up. See if we can get like an actual offer. And they came back in 30 minutes with a real offer. So we didn't offer from a team before anyone else had even really moved out of the preliminary asking. So like there was really like at that point, and a lot of people who don't know this, in free agency, if you really want to try to get a couple teams involved, right? You want teams to kind of not necessarily have a direct bidding war, but you want to give that.
Yes, you do.
You do.
You want a bidding war.
You want to bid. You want technically want a bidding war, but you're not like we want you to bid against them. Like they don't even know about each other a lot of times, right? You just know that there's someone, and you want to create that situation. Like I said, someone came in so hot that like we're like, okay, well, who was the most interested out of the other 12 or whatever? And it was hard. we had to go by like how excited they seemed when they called. So we were just like, hey, we have an offer out. And there was some West Coast teams and things. And I'm from the West Coast. Being close to family is always a big thing for me, and or a big perk. And it just kind of came down. They're like, we don't really know where our budget's at. That's everyone kind of just said,
yeah. Well,
and I'm sorry, we can't tell you more than that. And I was like, you know what? This team is new owner, Jeremy Hefner's there. Just a lot of excitement.
Coach who you were with in Minnesota, by the way.
Absolutely. Yes. He was my bullpen coach in Minnesota. And we have a really good relationship, and he's helped me in my development a lot too. So continuing that was big for me, right? Being able to kind of just hit the ground running. But they just got there. They got there really quickly. And as it kind of turned out, as the rest of free agency, unfolded, it was really good. It was a smart move.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it was.
I'm always curious. Like, first of all, I need your wife's name. I apologize.
Kate.
We're just Kate. Okay. So when you put the phone down, you're like, all right, I got it. And you're like, because everybody knows what you made. I mean, it's all out there. You don't have to splash it all over the place. 2 years, 15 plus. What does Kate say? Like, you're like, I got it. I got what I wanted.
She was like, let's do it. And I could see her eyes light up like, New York experience. I got to have the adventure. I can't wait to go to shows. And I'm like, okay, all right. Hey, well, I only get so many off days. I'm a homebody. What have I done? But fortunately, I have a sister that lives in the city, and so she's got a friend from the very minute. We got a lot of friends that live up in New York, just in New York State, even too. Mm-hmm. So a lot of opportunities there. But she got excited. I got excited. Good. We kept gassing each other up, like, man, we go do this, and I like to do a lot of stuff off the field. I want to do some cool stuff for charity and stuff. And there's no better place than New York. So. Right. Passionate as hell fan base. They just want it so bad, right? They're just so excited. They want it so bad. And it's one of those things that, like, if you do it for a fan base like that, it's there forever, right? You're part of that crew that made it happen. And the guys that won there in '86, they're all legends in New York. Legends. They have been since. And that's what it's all about. That's why we play. So there's a great opportunity to do it. And
so I'm curious, what was your first discussion like with Steve Cohen, who's worth $15 billion? Like, 15 million is great, Trevor. Like, I applaud you. I think that's awesome. He's got $15 billion.
It's weird. He's just a guy, believe it or not. He called me right after we did our Zoom call with the media, and he called me literally right after. And he's like, hey, I'm like, hey, thanks for believing in me and going to get me. I appreciate that. He goes, hey, it's great to have you aboard. And just the first of many. He goes, first is what I anticipate to be many, many great things to come. I was like, that's really exciting, and that's pretty much it. Kept it short, kept it sweet, kept it simple. But yeah, he's just a guy that's done some pretty crazy things in his life. That's the way I think about it. But yeah, there was a little bit of like, that's what you do with you. He's your boss's boss, right? You want to make sure that you make a good impression right away. So there was a little bit of nerves there, but it was great.
So you didn't ask him yet if can I borrow your jet to head back to Seattle? You have not asked that.
That didn't happen. And we're not there yet. Someday. Maybe I can get some jet access, maybe.
Okay. Well, we'll try. So it's been a big off season for you because are you part owner of the Zappers?
Part owner of the proud fan control football team. Unfortunately, we are 0-2 going into the final weekend of the regular season, the 3-week regular season. We were 0-2. We lost in overtime, but yes, I'm a co-owner of the Zappers team with Bob Menery, a gentleman named Ronnie 2K, who was a big content creator around basketball, and Dalvin Cook, which is the Minnesota connection. So
wow,
he just joined the team in the last couple of days. I believe his cousin is one of the players too in the league. So Marshawn Lynch is an owner and also has a cousin in the league. So it's been a wild ride. It's a lot of fun. We're having a blast.
Tell everybody who your quarterback is.
Quarterback is Johnny Manziel, and we have our backup quarterback is also becoming a little bit of a star too. So it's crazy. We got guys who are like pocket quarterbacks. We got a bunch of guys who can scramble in the league, a bunch of guys to choose from. So it's really cool watching some of these guys create like their personas. A guy named Turpin is a wide receiver, and he's being known as like kind of the freak athlete in the league, right? He can like standing backflip, and he's like the fastest guy, and it's cool how they're all getting like they're separating themselves into like the defenses are all getting nicknames for each other, and it's super cool.
Yeah, it's the fun thing about it. I have watched a couple of games here and there. Fans get to call plays, the whole bit. But man, if you guys ever win anything, could you imagine the party that Manziel's going to throw?
Oh, I can't imagine. Well, you got to add in Bob too. Bob Menery's the
right. That's
owner.
True, Bob.
So
Bob lights it up pretty good.
That's I can't begin to conjecture what that would look like. No, but there's still time. So doesn't matter. Everyone makes the playoffs. So all we got to do is win those games.
Just get hot at the right time, man.
Get hot at the right time. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. It's what I always say. So
holy smokes, you got all the cliches of it for ownership down pat. Good work. Now you just have to suppress player salaries and you'll be right on board. Okay.
Yeah, we got to get some control time thing in there, where we have control for 18 years before they go to free agency. Normal stuff.
All right. So you spent the last 6 years in the Twins organization, right? You were originally drafted by the Phillies, got dealt over there. So you're basically a lifelong Minnesota Twin, if you will, at least as a big leaguer.
Yes.
And now you walk into a brand new clubhouse. How does that go down? Because you're an established guy, but you're also, you're a reliever. So I imagine, and you're coming over from a different league. Not everybody knows what Trevor May looks like when he walks through the door. So was that a weird experience?
Yeah, definitely weird, especially when everyone's wearing masks. That doesn't help, right? They're going by like your stature, which I'm like the 15th tallest person on the team. We have the biggest group of pitchers I've ever seen in my life. Everyone, Dylan Betances, Castro, Sam McWilliams, DeGrom, Peterson, they're all taller than me. Like everybody's bigger. I may outweigh them, but they're taller. It's interesting. It actually wasn't as big of a culture shock as I thought it would be initially. The only thing I was really worried about is just knowing where stuff was. But they got a brand new. This place is brand new last year, so it's all very easy to find. It's beautiful. Everything's really nice and well done, and like all the fields are laid out in a logical way. Like I got all that stuff in the first day, so like any of that anxiety kind of went away immediately. But it's going to be, picking guys' brains like the Strohs and the DeGroms and the guys who like are already part of that kind of leadership crew, and just contributing as much as I can to the culture of the clubhouse and stuff. That's my goal. That's my focus. Just kind of, I'm more laid back in the clubhouse for the most part, and just kind of letting things go and participating and listening and watching. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now at the beginning.
Okay. But I mean, how does it work? Like, do you walk up to somebody and you're like, "Hi, I'm Trevor May."
Yep. What's up, man? I generally like to know their name first and who they are, so that I can introduce myself. But Yeah, it's been a lot of that. A lot of guys are like, which one are you? Like the travel guy today was like, I'm like, it's Trevor. He's like, oh yeah, the mask. I can't, everyone's so tall, and he's not a tall guy, so he's just looking up at everybody. So and I was like, yeah, I said hi to you yesterday and the day before that. And so yeah, it you just got to go introduce yourself. But again, I've been traded. I had to do that in spring training. I actually went to my first big league spring training, also being brand new to the organization. So it was like a double, like also like, oh, everyone's in the big leagues, and oh, I don't know anyone anyways. Like none of the young guys I know either. So I've done it before, and it all kind of flooded back to me. And yeah, it's just everyone's there to get the job done. And you start talking about pitching too, and you start to kind of gravitate towards
you become a pitching geek
quickly.
All of a sudden.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot to talk about right now. We got a lot of guys learning new stuff about themselves. There's a little bit of a renaissance happening in the organization, as I understand it too, with analytics and all the information we have. So a lot of guys kind of pursuing that stuff. It's something I have some experience in too. So I feel like I'm an asset in that way too.
So I want to circle back real quick to something you said about, if you win in New York, you can become a legend. Mm-hmm. In Minnesota, it's so different. Minneapolis is one of my favorite cities in this country. The people are amazing.
Incredible.
And you actually had a great run while you were up there. But at the end of the day, if you don't win the World Series, you can still walk into Manny's Steakhouse and they're not going to give you the stink eye and be like, get the hell out. You didn't win this year.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, dude, great try. Guys are awesome. We love you. In New York, they're going to start throwing their food at you if you don't win.
I mean, if you go to Manny's Steakhouse, they might not know who you are if you don't want to World Series, frankly. So, and that's, and to be honest, like that has its benefits and that has all the stuff, but like at the same time, you're like, I mean, come on, you guys have been here I was the longest tenure twin last year. I was the guy on the team the longest, and people didn't know that. But I'm a reliever, and it is a small market, and it's completely different. But I think though, I think that the thing that is the most similar between the two places, if you win the World Series there, Minnesota would treat you the same way that you would be treated in New York. There'd just be less people, right? That know. But the people that like the way they feel about Kirby and the way they feel about, Jack Morris and, all the guys who were on the 91 and 87 teams there, Herbeck's, they're legends. They're legends in Minnesota. You see them all the time. We see Danny every day at the field, and I met Ken 100 times, and like they're just people, baseball fans in that city. They're idols. Their idols are.
Yeah, but I guess my point is this: pressure's on, bro. You're not the feel good story here. Like you in New York, they will slam the door in your face if you don't get shit done right.
Yeah. And you got to get the job done. I mean, that's how they live their lives, man. If you need to get off on your exit, you force your way over there to get off your exit. Like no one's going to let you get off the exit. You have to go where you want to go. Does that mean that your car might get dinged up? Probably. But, you have there's no people aren't going to let you do it. And so, and of course, there's going to be like, maybe if you were working on this instead of doing that podcast with Chris Rose, or maybe if you were doing your bullpens instead of playing Minecraft, like I'm going to get bombarded with that stuff. And you know what? You just got to be as accountable as you possibly can. No one's going to talk to me. I mean, I might get talked to a little bit, but no one's going to talk to me unless I blow a game. And you just go up there and be like, yeah, man, I sucked. That was tough to watch, huh? And even the meanest of people are like, I don't know how to pile on to you right now. It's tough to pile on a guy when he's completely agreeing with you. Yeah. It's really, really hard.
You're right. You're right.
So you just got to be as accountable, even though it's going to hurt, and it's going to happen. And I know it's going to happen unless I have one of the best years ever, right? Which is possible, but it's probably going to happen if I was a betting man.
So here's the deal, real quick. I want to mark the tape. That's a term in the biz.
All right.
If you shit the bed one day and we're scheduled to tape a podcast the next, you're not going to be like, dude, no. I can't do it.
Unless there's something happen with that. But if that's all that happens, I just have to deal with it. Absolutely not. But like if there was,
you're a good man. Can I just show you something?
Yeah.
I'm Cleveland rep through and through, right? I mean, of course.
Yes,
so by the way, my oldest son, Josh, is thrilled that you have moved on because he was like, we could never hit that MFer ever. I was like, I know.
Bench against Cleveland, and I like pitching against Chicago. Those were my teams.
Yeah, no shit. You see this though? Can you see that over my shoulder?
I saw it. I very, very well placed. Subtle.
I'm not pointing to my regional Emmy that I won in Cincinnati. That's not a real Emmy. That's a fake Emmy. It's a regional.
Regional Cincinnati Emmy. I'd
Yeah.
put that up there. That counts. It counts. It looks the same.
Does it? I got to tell you, you know what? They here's the funny thing. They broke, and I apologize for the audio only audience. They broke when we moved one of the little things off. So I called them and I said, well, what happens? Our mover broke this. They said, well, you can either, we'll send you a $250 check and you can get it fixed. So this was very early in my career. I think right after we got married, we pocketed the $250.
Of course you did. You know how many times I did that with cars? I'm like, yeah, someone hit and ran me. They're like, oh yeah. I'm like, here's $1,200. I'm like, all right, thank you. Don't fix it. Don't care.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. So it's good to get to know Trevor May, one of the newest member of the New York Mets. We'll continue to dive into that side of things, but I want to kind of get into a grander scope of baseball and kind of get your initial reaction on a bunch of different things, bunch of stuff that happened over the off season. So we're going to kind of rank it on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is, and you've got these Nelson Cruz eyebrows working for you. Yeah. So 1 is, it didn't do anything for me. Didn't even raise an eyebrow. 5 would be like pegging it, like, holy shit, I can't believe that happened. Okay. So we're going to kind of have a little discussion back and forth. You got it?
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, the rules are pretty simple. I'm not that smart, so I can't come up with
easy.
Yeah. All right, so let's start with the big news that happened recently. That's Fernando Tatis getting a 14-year, $340 million extension at the age of 22 from the San Diego Padres. And, during his press conference, he was bombarded, questions about, are you the next Patrick Mahomes or LeBron James? So here's what he said.
I just smile because I know the greatness of LeBron. I know the greatness of Mahomes and the big things that are winners. There's a lot of things I still need to accomplish to be even close to those guys, but I feel like the main thing is going to be winning, and I'm looking forward to that challenge, and I'm looking forward to be stay next to them. It's not about this year and how they're mentioning. It's going to be how they show, especially LeBron, as they show it every year, and that's going to be the big thing for me, showing it every year.
All right, scale of 1 to 5, what do you got it?
In terms of the deal happening, that's not remotely surprising to me. I mean, it was a lot of money, but after Mookie and after, Trout and Harper, and like, it just makes sense, especially when a kid's 22 years old. The timing was odd. It's just I know San Diego's not one of the teams, but just generally they're like, I don't know if we can sign these guys. And then they're like, and mega deal. And there just keeps becoming these big mega deals that are happening that seem to tie up funds for a long period of time. But I'm a huge fan of Tatis. I cannot wait to get the opportunity to battle against him, because one of my favorite part about being a baseball player or pitcher is that it is one-on-one, and I just get to do my best stuff against their best stuff. And those are things that I remember specific bats. But and then his comments, I'll just kind of make it a two-parter. Not surprising at all. There's something that happened with him last year, and I've talked this a lot about this on stream, about the 3-0 swing up 7. Texas wasn't happy about it, and he hit the grand slam or the 3-run homer or whatever it was, swinging 3-0. And the thing that struck me, not is that he swung 3-0. Like, guys swing 3-0, you're the pitcher, you don't want to give up a homer, but things happen. But afterwards, there was like something about a missed sign they told him to take, and he didn't, and he hit a homer. And it's one of those things where it all worked out, right? But at the end of the day, I remember in his post-game conference, he's like, yeah, if I get the take sign, though, I need to take. Even though I hit the home run, and that's great, I need to do the things that are long-term better for in the gist of what he said. And that struck me as like a very mature, like team guy who knows the game of baseball and knows that like that situation was kind of the exception to the rule as opposed to the rule. And it was so that him saying those things, like, I have to put in the work and I have to do these things, even though you guys are saying I'm going to be the next GOAT of the sport, I still have to do it. And that's on me. And only I have the control over that. And so let's see. He goes, check in back in with what I heard there was check back in with me in 10 years. And we'll see where we're at. And that's an extremely mature way to handle it as well. Like, he has flair, he plays the game and he has fun, but he also, I think he's taking the responsibility that's being put on him in like as good as you possibly can. And that's really impressive to me. So I'm a fan of that guy, but not surprised.
All right. So a couple things. I almost drove off the road when I was on the phone with my son going to pick up our other son at football practice when he told me the deal went through. I was like, holy shit. But I sat down, I thought about it. I think the Padres got over on one. I really do. Because unless he breaks down and only plays 110 games a year, this is going to be fine financially. I always look at it this way. Does a deal like this prevent ownership from making other moves to continue to place a winner? And if the answer is no, then why should you give a shit how much money he gets?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. The other aspect of this is if I'm Ronald Acuna, I am on the phone with my agent and saying, thank you, goodbye. Yeah. I can't believe that guy signed. I know it sounds ridiculous that we're saying, Chris, you're telling a guy whose representation got him $100 million deal to fire them. Yeah. Yeah. Because he was 21 when he signed the deal.
Yeah.
Like, look at where we've gone in this short a span. In less than 2 years, we have gone from Ronald Acuna, basically the same age, signing a deal for a little over $100 million to Fernando Tatis signing one worth $340.
Yeah.
$340. That's where we are.
The biggest things here, and I think this is really important for people to know. When you're signing these large deals, it depends on how many years you have team control that they're purchasing from you, and then how much that goes into your free agency, your ability to sign another free agency deal after. The weird thing about Ronald's is they buy out, I believe they bought out 2 years of free agency for, if he continues the way he is, those two free agency years are extreme. They're worth $35 million a year each.
Yep.
Each. That's if he just played it out. And that's 70 of his 100 that he's going to get over the whole thing. So if you extrapolate that, again, he'll be 27 when he's if he was free agent and just playing it out. 27. Look at the other guys who were 27 signed deals. I'll name them for you. Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, all those guys who were 20, 21 came into the league and made it to 27. And then they signed their mega deals later. What he did is pushed it to 28, 29. And so they're getting years that are projected to be extremely expensive for them for extremely cheap. And then you throw Ozzy Albies same way. It's getting you. I totally understand hey, I just don't want to have to worry about it. I totally get that. But though, like those two guys they're just in a different, I was never in that. I was never going to have that opportunity. I got Major League at 24. I just wasn't going to have it. So the way that I progress through mine and what I'm going to take is different than the way they're going to take it. Totally. If you get up at 20, man, you better get your over a decade deal for 30 AAV, because especially when you're the type of star that, it's going to be interesting to look at Juan Soto and other guys. And not to mention we got five shortstops that are 26 each.
Yeah, they're all hitting free agency next year, which gets me to my next topic.
Okay.
When the Mets traded for Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco, barely an eyebrow raise.
5.
Holy shit. Just say it with me.
I was holy shit. I stood up and I went my phone, and my wife doesn't my wife knows who they are, but it doesn't really compute how big of that. I walked in and she was working. I go, let's go. I'm just yelling at her. She's like, what happened? I'm like, we just got Cookie and Frankie, which is having played against them for the last 6 years. I hated watching them over there. And it's great now that they're on the team. I think the complete the way under the radar part of this is Cookie. Frankie that's blockbuster. But we got Carlos Carrasco just snuck in there. That's he is so solid, and he's been solid for so long, and he'll make you can put him in any rotation in the league, all 30 teams, and he'll make that rotation better. So it's we made the rotation better, and we got a top 3 shortstop in the league all in one swoop. And having just signed with the team, and I mentioned all this excitement for the Mets coming into this with Steve and stuff, that was just I believe we had signed McCann too, who is notoriously one of the hardest working catchers in the league as well. And trust me, I've only been to camp for 4 days now. The guy's there at 6 a.m. every morning, and he has not left him and DeGrom have just been breaking down signs and scouting reports and stuff. Every time I walk in the clubhouse, they're talking about it. And I'm like, hey, come talk to me for a bit. Let's break down
Over
my
here.
game plan.
New guy.
But just he's so hungry to learn too. So like you just add all that. And I was just like, oh my God, this thing's like happening, really happening,
So
really exciting.
You probably didn't think of me once. But once again, Carlos Carrasco actually gave me.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
He used to do these little baseballs. So there's Cookie on the bottom with Clevenger and Tomlin and Kluber and Bauer. This shirt is not that old. Those guys have all moved on. Yeah. And it really, it's the harsh part about being with a small market team. And it is such a kick in the onions because listen, I just turned 50. He is the best baseball player I've ever seen put on an Indians uniform. And Jim Thome is a Hall of Famer. And Kenny Lofton should have been more highly considered for that. And Omar Vizquel's being talked about as one. And Albert Bell was a monster. And Manny Ramirez is one of the greatest hitters I've ever seen. This is the best baseball player I've ever seen.
Even better Bartolo?
Well, not a better body.
Not a better body. Hey, no. Bartolo was svelte when he was with Cleveland, though. That guy was a brick house.
Did you ever walk past him when he was with the Twins?
Oh, yeah.
And say, when's the baby due?
No, I did not. He is a legend. I would never do that. But I did say, hi, Mr. Bartolo. And he said, hi, and then walked off. I watched him prepare for start, and he's the most naturally athletic person I've ever seen. Like no one can be like that, like at his age. And no, there's no one else. He's the only one. Like then move like that still and still be able to pitch. Like I'm gonna be lucky if I can get into my car when I'm 42. We'll see.
Did he know your name?
Yeah, yeah. He goes, hey May. And I was on Tommy John rehab still. So I wasn't even on the team really. I was just kind of in the clubhouse. So, but it was an honor to be known who I was.
That's good.
Yeah. Because it was good.
The word is Ricky Henderson really knew about 3 guys that he played with over 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So the fact that Bartolo was on that many teams and actually knew your name.
Yeah.
You sure he wasn't saying, hey man?
Maybe. I don't know. There's I prefer to think of it the other way. We'll just go with that. I'll die with that as my memory.
All right. Next one. Barely an eye raise or holy shit that Trevor Bauer flirted with you guys and then signed with the Dodgers.
I'd give it a 3. Maybe the way that it went I'm going to be honest. Just kind of how, like, I know about that he wanted to do it on YouTube, and I knew it was going to come down to 2 teams. And I knew the way that he was like, just like getting everyone kind of going and like engaging everybody and making sure, like firing it up, very much the I'm going to South Beach type thing feel. It had that one of those things. So like all that stuff didn't really surprise me really. Especially with when we were in the running there at the end, and I was like, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if he came here. Like, honestly, put him in this clubhouse. The possibilities of all the things that is going to happen through this year is just insane to even wrap your head around. With just all the personalities and all the social media and all the different things, and being in New York, and it was a lot, but it was exciting. And then to go to the Dodgers, I mean, World Series home team.
But you were pissed. Divisions. You were pissed a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Who wouldn't want the Cy Young from last year to come to the team where the guy he just edged out for the Cy Young, right, and have them both? As a reliever, I would love to just walk into the clubhouse 3 out of the 3 or maybe even 4 of the 5 days a week and just say, "Hey guys, the bullpen's closed. Good luck. Good luck in your 9 innings." Sergio Romo would always say that. He goes, "My goal is to pitch as little as possible through the year because that means we're doing it."
Right.
And I'm like,
it's a great call.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. We should never need us. And then we're in a good spot.
Is this a fair question? Did you do any research while Bauer was flirting with you guys? Did you make any calls to find out what type of guy he is?
I've spoken to Trevor a lot because he's got so many off the field things that he's pursuing, from the media company Momentum to some other analytics based stuff. And I picked his brain about an Edgertronic too. I bought a slow motion camera myself and pitch design. We had a couple conversations. He actually had Momentum came and did something on me in 2019 too, at my just about the streaming and what I do before the games and stuff, a little day in the life too. So I've met his partners there too. Good dudes. I really like how he's just I'm a huge proponent of access, like I said at the beginning of the show. And though he does it in a different way than I would do it, or that I do it, his passion is baseball. So like he goes home and then he figures out how to create content around being a baseball player. And mine might be a little bit different in terms of my other hobbies because they're not necessarily directly related to baseball, but the entire premise stands. So yeah, of course, he's definitely an ally in that mindset in this game. And a lot of guys are following in the footsteps that are young. I discovered a bunch of guys through momentum that are like 22, 23, 24 that were drafted in the last 2 or 3 years who knew immediately that they should have a YouTube channel. They should be doing this stuff, even if they're in low A, even if they're just in rookie ball, and they started early. And that is becoming kind of the standard more and more, that if you're interested in it, here's the way you do it. And he's broken a lot of ground in that area. So yeah, I have talked to him a bit, and in my subtle way, I've been like, oh, by the way, a lot of things happening in New York. I hit him with one of those, right? And I hit Odo with that, and I texted Rich, but he never texted me back. Like, hey, I'd love to have you back as a teammate. And so yeah, that's kind of I'm a little more chill when it comes to like being completely straightforward when it comes to like, hey, come here, come be with us and let's do this thing. I'm more like, hey, think about all the fun we'll have, right?
But you're all over social media.
Yep.
What'd you make of the whole Syndergaard Bauer thing?
They both took to, it's not, I was talking to our PR guy about it. I'm like, it's just not something that I do I participate in. It's just not something that I just, it's not the way I approach things. But yeah, there was a dig made, and then there was a dig made the other way, and then they just started digging back and forth. And do
you dig it though?
I mean, people love it, right? And if they want to do it, they can do it. It's totally their prerogative to do it. But if I get in a situation like that, if I get where I say something that I don't anticipate being taken the way it is, and then it is, I'll probably shut it down a lot faster because I'm just a little bit less. I just don't like conflict very much. I know most people don't, but I shut it down much faster than most people. I'm just not a super abrasive guy.
I'm with you. All right. One more quick thing. Barely an eyebrow raise or holy shit. Syndergaard throwing his bullpen with a shirt off.
Not even remotely surprised. It's hot in Florida. And if I look like that, I would too. You should. The guy's an animal. I've been here for 4 days, and I'm just like, you own this weight room. How are we even allowed in here? You're using everything at the same time. He's crazy. And I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he moves as well as he does and as strong as he is and doesn't break down, because I just know that I'm just the other way. I'm just so like, I need to rest or I'll be worthless.
Is he a big stare in the mirror guy though? Is he that guy?
No, not really. No, he's like, he's nose to the grindstone, like exercise to exercise to exercise to. I don't even see him like take a breath. It's impressive. It's impressive.
You know what? The Mets one day in July, they should just make him pitch without a shirt on.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, forget about the bobblehead promotion.
No hat, and just like throw in some headphones too, like in hardball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just why not?
I think we're
trying to sell the game. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would enjoy that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, can we get on to our GameStop?
Let's do it.
Our streaming. So give me a typical day during, I want to hear about this, I guess, during the season for Trevor May. Are you streaming a lot? Are you playing?
I stream a good amount. And the nice thing is that my hours ability to play video games from like 9 a.m. to about 1 p.m., depending on how far I need to drive to the field and what we're doing that day. Over the last few years, the time to get to the field has gotten a little bit later and later and later, and they just want you to like go do your own thing a little bit longer. So I've had more opportunities to do it. But from about 9 to 1, I hop in and play games with the people that I play games with in the off season. So I maintain those relationships. I have a lot of fun. And we stream for 3.5, 4 hours. And like I'd either be streaming it or I'd just be doing it anyways. Like most guys are just home playing video games in the morning and until they have to go to the field. And then after the games, I'm 100% husband and cat dad right now, where we're watching a show and hanging out together. Nights we've in order to do both of these things, we've set some pretty strict rules there. But in the mornings, I'm streaming 3 or 4 times a week when we're on at home, and on the road if we have a good hotel. So like in the AL Central, I knew all the hotels by the back of my hand. Marriott in Cleveland, awful. There's no way I'm getting anything done. Intercontinental in Kansas City, awful. There's no way I'm getting anything done. Chicago, though, we had 2 different hotels. One was good, one was bad. The Westin, no bueno. But the other one, great. So if we were at the other one, I'm pumped up. Who else was in our division? With Kansas City, Detroit. On Birmingham. That had a great hotel.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, it's a great hotel. And so I was like, Detroit, we'd constantly go there for 4-game series. I'm like, I can stream. So I could stream, every day in the morning, especially on the road, because there's really nothing to do. Like there's really nowhere to go or nothing to do. So I'll get up and go, and the bus will be at like 2, and I'll play for 4 hours and try to stream and see people and go from there. But I'd say on average, if I had to average it over the season, I'm probably like twice a week. As you know, we're going to be doing this show now, and we're going to be I do another podcast. So I have a lot of other stuff going on too, that is kind of eaten into the live streaming, but streaming adjacent stuff too, is a lot more hours.
So who else in the major leagues? I mean, I know Snell's all over it. I know Lucas Giolito, who's a member of the Chris Rose rotation, has gotten big into it as well. Like if we were to rank our top few baseball players as far as streamers,
in terms of stream built streams, like I would put myself at the very top, and I have no problem doing that. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm proud of that, building that brand. But in terms of like good at games, I think me and Blake are pretty close. There's some other guys who are just better. Like I know Jeff McNeil streams every once in a while. Gio streams off and on. I don't know if he does a lot during the season. I know he does more in the off season. Bryce Harper's played quite a bit this off season.
Like, have you ever played against Harper?
I've never played against Harper. He does a lot. Like the hours never really line up. A lot of guys stream in the evening, right? They do all their stuff in the morning, and then they go stream in the evening. I stream in the morning and then go do all my stuff in the afternoon, evening. So we never overlap on when we're playing. I don't know why, but no one seems to play at the same time as me. But during
wait a second. Well, wait, why don't we throw down the gauntlet right here? I mean, can't we set this up? You guys are now division rivals. You're only less than 150 miles away from one another.
Yeah.
You guys are going to be playing each other 19 times a year. Hell, you don't even have to be in the same time zone. Can't we set a time on this show and get this to Harper and say,
possibly, we would have to figure out what game we play too. He plays Fortnite all the time. I haven't played Fortnite in a year. Call of Duty is a big one. Most guys play Call of Duty. Literally everyone in this clubhouse plays Call of Duty. Everyone. And it's just like, it's a game that I'm just like, it's not that good. I just don't like it very much. I don't know why. So that's a lot of things. Everyone's like, wait, why do you play that game with this person? I'm just like, I don't play that game. That's a big issue.
But isn't it like riding a bike?
It is a little bit like riding a bike. I could get going a little bit. I played a lot with Brett Phillips as a guy. Unfortunately, though, if we do something funny and he gets laughing, he sets the controller down and can't move. And we told him he's not allowed to laugh when we're playing because he's worthless. And he just locks up cockroaches. And that was a big issue too. I don't even know what he's been playing lately. So Jake Diekman's been streaming a little bit.
Nice.
Doing some stuff. So a lot of guys have come around. But like I said, a lot of the young dude, like I'll say give it 3 years and there will be a bunch of like the new 21-year-olds that'll have huge followings going in. There's a guy, actually, it's not baseball, but Lando Norris, one of the youngest Formula One. He's the youngest Formula One driver ever from the UK.
Wow.
He's 21 now, and I think he won the whole thing last year. He's a phenom. He's got a huge streaming following. And has built that. It's really impressive how he's built it adjacent to his professional career as a driver. And like he's a big streamer, like bigger than guys who do it that are like have been working their whole lives on it. He's got a bigger brand in gaming almost than he does in driving, which is incredible.
All right. So what is the best thing that has come out of your gaming experience? What's the coolest thing that's happened?
Some of the coolest things, I've gotten to play video games with some of my favorite music artists. I'm really into like house electronic music. I was a DJ before streaming. I produced electronic music. Some of the guys I loved watching, Dylan Francis and Deadmau5. I was in a Fortnite game both times, and for whatever reason, we had a spot open. They just brought them in. I didn't even know. One time, Deadmau5's name was Joel, like his character name. And they're like, Joel, you want to come play? I was, sure. And he just came in and was played for a couple of games with us. And I was like, is that Deadmau5? And I went and look, he's streaming for like 50,000 people just playing Fortnite with us with Ninja. And I was like, I'm playing Fortnite with Deadmau5 right now. And he's worldwide. Everyone knows who Deadmau5 is, everybody. So that was crazy. And then Dylan Francis was another one who I've fortunately been able to play a lot of games with, played different games with, and hung out with him at a couple of his shows since then. But I fanboyed big because Dylan's been, my brother used to live in New York City when he was younger, and Dylan was like 20. He's 33 now, but when he was like 21, he was like kind of coming up in the scene. He and my brother like met him at like an underground show in New York. I was just telling me like, dude, this Dylan Francis guy, he's amazing. And that's when I started listening to his stuff. 10 years later, I'm playing Fortnite with him, and he's this big DJ guy, or a big DJ that's like world known now. And I still love his music. And some of the best friends that I met streaming too, I met them at a Dylan Francis concert, and before I knew him too. So all these connections to Dylan, and then we finally got to play, and he's just a hilarious guy. And so those were my two big, like, where I went like silent, like I couldn't talk. I was just like, I don't want to ruin this. I don't know why. I don't know how I'm going to ruin it, but it was super cool. Those were the big fanboy moments. That's awesome.
All right. You're going to have to come like with your gamer tip of the week every time you're on or something.
Ooh, I got lots of gamer tips. Tons of
Give us a quick one. Give us a Cliff Notes one.
Ooh, okay. Cliff Notes one. Gamer tip of the week. There's a competition between people who use their mouse and their keyboard to play games and the controller to play games. In order to get better at one or the other. So if you are switching from controller to PC and you want to learn, use an aim training game first. There's a game called Aim Lab. Try it, play it. Teaches you how to aim with a mouse, and you'll get better so much faster. It teaches you all about the settings, and like, because you can change your sensitivities, and there's all these like little things. Teaches you all about it. You learn it all right away. And then you can get in your games faster, because then if not, you'll just pop into games. You won't know what you're doing, and you'll be creating bad habits. So if you want to learn to aim on a mouse and keyboard, do an aim trainer. Do it. It's my gaming tip.
All right. As promised earlier, I gave you a little homework assignment before your first show, and that was to come up with a guest list. And these could be pie in the sky sort of feel to it, because we're going to try and make stuff happen here on the Chris Rose rotation.
Yeah.
So give me your list and why you want to try and have them on the show. Let's go for it.
So a bunch of these guys are ex-players, because they're like my favorite players of all time, that I assumed things about how they approach hitting and pitching, and I want to see if those things were real. So like having a guy like Randy Johnson, he is my favorite pitcher of all time, Mariner, or Edgar Martinez, my favorite player overall ever, to talk about hitting. Listening to Randy talk about pitching or Edgar and picking their brain about those two things would be amazing. Current players that I think would just have a blast, both talking about ball, but also just stories wise. Rich Hill. Rich Hill needs to be on the show. He needs to host his own podcast. He's one of the most genuinely nice people ever, but he's hilarious. And there's a reason it says Mountain on the back of his jersey on Players Weekend, because he's one of those hilarious guys. Another ex-player who I played with, Torrey Hunter. I would love to talk to Torrey. Torrey is a game changer in the clubhouse, but the things he's doing now, just like learning how to move on from baseball and like be an entrepreneur, he's doing it just as good or better than anybody else. And so every time I see him, he tells me about all the things he has going, and he wants to hear about all the stuff I have going. In that same vein, Corey Koski, ex-Twin, same thing. Those two guys would be really interesting to like get business acumen from, just as ex-players, or how they went about it when they were playing. And then a non-baseball player, non-sports related, but I think that he would vibe in a big way. And he is a native, well, he's native New Jersey, but he's New York City. Gary Vaynerchuk. is a guy who I followed for 7 years, marketing guru, huge entrepreneur, early investor in a bunch of very large tech companies. I believe Uber and Facebook or Twitter, one of those, one of the big ones. And he basically, mindset wise, everything I do off the field has been kind of driven by consuming his content. And a lot of what I say, being really bought in on creating content, being a player that does things like this, is his whole thing. And he's a New Yorker, and he's a huge sports fan. He wants to buy the Jets. That's like his macro life goal, is to make enough money to buy the Jets and then win a Super Bowl with them. And he collects sports cars. Like he's just a guy
dude.
Yeah, you get him in front of a mic, he'll just vibe with you and have a good time.
So I get this. Like, how old are you? You're 31?
31.
Okay. So, I mean, you were probably a little young for the Mariners 95 run.
The
Probably.
01. That 01 year was
01 was yours.
So
Okay.
they were gone. I think everyone but A-Rod was gone.
Yes.
That might have been the
Griffey
first year A-Rod was
Cincinnati.
gone, actually. No, A-Rod was still there.
He was still
02
there.
is when he signed the big deal with so it was the year before he was a free agent. But Griffey was in Cincinnati, and Randy was with Arizona. And so or was Randy on the team in 01?
No, he won it all with Arizona that year.
He won it all with Arizona.
MVPs.
So the year they won 116, Jeff Nelson, Dan Wilson, John Olerud, all those guys. Edgar was still there. Yeah, so that was the big influence on me. But I remember being like 6 and watching the playoff games in 95. And Griffey obviously is like, if you're from the Northwest and the kid isn't one of your favorite players, you're just you don't like baseball. That's all it is. He is the face of the Mariners, even if he wasn't there his whole career.
Did you? When was the first time you met him?
I met him in 2019. I don't think he fully, and I don't see why he would, but I don't think he fully understood like how excited I was. He gets it all the time, King Griffey Jr. But he didn't know. I kind of get him in passing. He was like leaving. He was, oh yeah, nice to meet you. I'm like, hey, man, grew up a big fan, as everyone did, but like I'm from an hour from here. Like this is the real. I pitched in Safeco. I played my high school state championship game in Safeco Field.
Oh, nice.
So I've had all the like I'm here experiences, but that was like the last one. I think that was like the keystone that went in the arch, right? Is meeting Ken Griffey Jr. And so that was like the character arc of my fandom kind of coming to fruition. So it was really, really cool. He ran out of there because he was like, oh, everyone's stopping me. But it still was. I think Tori. The thing was, Tori was there with us. He's a special assistant.
Oh, okay.
So Tori asked him to come down, and he was just visiting. So without that, I wouldn't have been able to meet him. So yeah, that was cool. I'll always remember that, even though I doubt he even knew that he met me.
Dude, I think, to me, that's the best part is that, we forget you guys are big stars. You're major leaguers. You revert back to being 7 years old when you meet Ken Griffey Jr.
Absolutely.
I think that's the coolest part of it.
I did, in a big way. And I haven't met Edgar yet. I miss Edgar a lot.
Oh my God.
But Edgar, Edgar is my family's favorite player. Like all of us, him, and I was more than fortunate to actually have a conversation with Jamie Moyer. Jamie Moyer is the other one. My mom loved Jamie. And Eddie Gordado, who was my bullpen coach for a couple of years too. So like those were all like kind of our family favorites over the years of Mariners, and I got to meet them all. And I think Edgar's the last one in the group. Well, and Randy, but I've been close to Edgar several times, just had no opportunity to like. He was like either on the other side of the cage or some weird. Yeah, I got to
side of the cage. Yes,
I got to
suck it up.
I don't know. I'm just like I said, man. I'm kind of like I'm shy. It doesn't seem like I'm shy. I'm kind of shy. Meet new people.
Come out of your shell. This is part of the therapy of the Chris Rose rotation. Is right. Yeah, we'll make it happen.
All right.
Who cares? Listen, I worked for 10 years with a guy who will do anything. Kevin Millar would go up to people he didn't even know, but they owned a private jet, and he was like, "Can I bum a ride?" I mean, come on. If you have balls to do that, you can walk across the field to go shake hands with Edgar Martinez.
Very good point. I'm not Kevin Millar, though, guys. I am not Kevin Millar.
That is true, because you actually have used syllable words with more than like 2 syllables.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah.
He's stuck on.
He's
stuff.
got better teeth though. That's for sure.
But he paid for those.
Yes, he did.
He
did.
All right. This is the wheel of moderately interesting things. So I've got 5 categories. I've got 10 spaces. So if you're not a math major at home, that means there's 2.
2 of each.
2 of each. Okay.
Roll of fun.
So ready?
All right.
This is the first time I used that. And by the way, it's cheap. I spent like $18 on it, and I'm going to expense it to the company.
Okay.
So Jomboy Media, expect the expense. Here we go. First time ever using the wheel of moderately interesting things. Oh, popped his cherry.
Okay.
First of all, do you have any idea what
No
that category
idea.
might be?
What that could
Would you like to
possibly
guess?
mean? I'm terrified to guess. You can just tell me.
I need the name of the first major leaguer you ever met.
First major leaguer I ever met. Ben Davis was the first major leaguer I ever met.
Oh,
Nice.
Former
He was
catcher.
courting my sister at the time. And that's how I met Ben Davis. And I didn't know that's what was happening, but that is what's happening. Yes, Ben was a catcher. I believe he was catcher for San Diego at the time, and then he played for the Mariners. So it was like that transition period. Yep. My sister lived in Seattle.
I need a little bit more, please.
It was like, hey, you want to meet my kid brother? He plays baseball. And like, that's kind of, we didn't play catcher or anything, but he's like, I'm a catcher, you're a pitcher. And I was like, I don't know, 12 or maybe 13 or 14. And he's like, how do you throw? It was a very, I'm thinking back on it. It was a very awkward engagement because he's like, I'm not even dating your sister. I'm already meeting your little brother. And I was like, oh, Aaron knows a baseball player. Now I'm an adult. I'm like, I think there was more happening there. I don't know though. But yeah, it's funny to think back. I actually just thought about that like 6 months ago. I was like, let's look at how long did Ben play for? Like, I didn't even look up his stats ever until that point. And he played for a good amount of time. He played for like 8 years.
He did. Yeah. I wonder at what age did you sit down and realize, oh my God, I can't believe this was actually happening.
Yeah, it was recent. I completely forgot about it because I was young. I had to be like 11 or 12. This was like 2000.
So your sister's significantly older than you.
Yeah, my sister's 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was in her early mid, maybe just out of college.
And needless to say, she is not Mrs. Ben Davis.
She is not Mrs. Ben Davis. She married an Englishman. So now I'm randomly a Sheffield Blades fan, and they are awful. If you were wondering, they are really bad. They are getting regulated this year, 100%.
How uncomfortable have the last 2.5 minutes been?
Pretty uncomfortable. Are we spinning it again? Let's get another spinning.
No, that's it. We only get one per.
All right, one per.
The next time we bring on a guest, let's say if Randy Johnson is on, what would Randy Johnson think of the wheel of moderately interesting things?
I have no idea how he's going to react, but I think he would do it. I mean, if you're agreeing to go on this show, you better expect,
that's good.
There to be some sort of spun wheel.
That's a great point. Before we wrap things up, and once again, we want to thank everybody for listening to the debut edition of the Chris Rose rotation. So make sure you hit the button that
makes it
makes you want to come back. Yeah, so you're following us and give us a rating. That's the big deal.
Subscribe and rate, please. Thumbs up only
Subscribe
on YouTube.
Yeah, you've done this before.
Yes.
I haven't. I'm used
I know
to
all
linear
about
television
asking people for engagement. Please engage with the podcast and show as much as humanly possible, guys. Thank you.
So before we say goodbye, this is the part of the show. Don't come back next time unless. So it is essentially a homework assignment.
All right.
And I want to thank my wife, Michelle Rose, who in a previous life was an elementary school teacher, for the fantastic writing. So you ready to see your homework assignment?
Yes.
We're going old school. We put it on the board. I need pictures of the best and worst tattoos of your new teammates on the New York Mets.
Oh, we got a lot of them too. I'm gonna have to get Stroh to just model for a bit, because that guy's got his whole. They're everywhere. I haven't even seen them all, but yeah, we got some choices. We got a lot of full arm sleeves.
So do you think that you can pull this off with? That's an easy homework, because you should.
Yeah, I already got some guys. That they're gonna have some good options that I feel like I'm already comfortable with. I could ask them tomorrow to get some pictures. Other guys might have to work it in, but yeah, we'll see what we can do. That's a good one. That's clever. I like that.
Yeah, and you might have to get some accompanying video explaining. Like, there's always the one where I can't believe I got that. Like our oldest son, I think he's only 20, but I think he's got 6 or 7 already, and he already regrets one, and he only got it.
He doesn't have rows in the middle of his back, does he?
Is there a problem with that?
No, he doesn't have that, does he?
I will tell you this: the first one, we gave him 2 rules about tattoos, because I'm not against them at all. I don't have any. My wife doesn't have any. I'm all for it. But when you're 18 years old, you don't think like when you're 30, right?
Yeah.
I just said 2 things. One, we're not paying for it. So if you get your own money, you're an adult, go for it. But 2, just talk to your aunt, Michelle's sister, Denise. She got one when she was 20 and she hates it. She's in her 40s now. So I said, just talk to her about it and the decision and all that sort of stuff. So 2 days after he graduated high school, all his boys roll over. I'm like, where are you guys going? And nobody said a word. And I was like, what's going on here? Where are you going? And one of them says, well, we want to all see Josh get his first tattoo. I was like, Josh, did you talk to your aunt? No. I was like, God damn it. I asked you for 2 things. Talk to your aunt and you could pay for it. But, he got all this graduation money, so he wanted to go blow some of it on this. So he didn't. So I actually called Millar, who's got a bunch of tattoos. And I gave him the phone. He goes, I want to talk to Kevin. I said, Kevin, talk to him. And so he talked to him. And then he goes, well, Josh, what are you going to get? He goes, well, I'm going to get, my parents, they're hard on me, but they mean so much to me. So I'm going to get their initials and a rose on my bicep. And I was like, here, I'll pay for it. Here.
Inside or outside? Inside?
Yeah, and he's 6'5", but he's 165. He's a rail, so he's got no biceps whatsoever.
He's got room to grow. He's got room. Well, I mean, DeGrom's like 6'7", 165, and that guy throws 100. So that's a great
point.
Yeah,
that's a great point. So there's your homework assignment, Trevor May, for the next time we talk to you.
I can do it.
I hope you had as much fun as I did, man. It was great getting to hang out here for an hour.
I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait to see if we can get some what we can do for additional guests and things. I would love to I'm excited. I'm just really excited. This was a lot of fun.
I am too. That's the key. The guest thing, it's going to be guys that you might be teammates with now, past teammates, but guys you've just competed against for years. You might not know each other. I think that's going to be the fun part.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a couple things with I was fortunate that MLB Radio took me on, and I did a couple things. We did a show last year during quarantine about Tommy John. I got to meet Tyon and oh my God, I'm blanking. Who closed the World Series in 19?
In 2019. Holy smokes, why am I blanking?
I'm blanking too, and I feel horrible.
He
was there too. He's still there. He's still on the Washington Nationals. He's in my division.
Oh, yeah. Number 44.
Even know his number.
Exactly. Oh my God. This is what happens when you sit on the bench and don't talk baseball for 2 months.
Exactly.
All of a sudden you sound like a moron.
You blank. But yeah, I got to meet them through that too, and that was really cool because we all had the same experience, and so I love that. I'm excited to keep going.
Yeah. Well, we'll get smarter by next time. But good luck with the streaming. Stay healthy during the spring. Remember, we're just working on a few things. If you give up a home run, that's the line to the media. We're just working on stuff.
We're just working on stuff. I threw only changeups to guys today, guys. What do you mean? I was throwing 85 the whole time. What do you expect? No, it'll be good. It's so funny how many times people have brought up the media. Like just they like just casually mention, I know the media is the worst, but I'm like, I understand that. I'm just gonna be like, so why'd you? They're gonna be like, so why'd you decide to do that stupid thing today? I'd be like, Well, because that's kind of when pitching, you come up with decisions for this reason. But fortunately, some people, are on their couch and some people are playing the game. So
don't do that. Don't do that. That's how you get.
You only hit fans with that,
media.
Not media. No, I'm
right.
Kidding. I love these guys. The media so far has been great. I think they just like it when you give them something.
That's true.
They don't like you when you don't give them something. Just give them something. Give them something to write about. Just respect they have a job, and you're usually fine. I understand there's going to be 100 of them. There's no way to do that for everybody, but you just got to do your best, and it'll all work out. I mean, people have survived.
Well, that's what we tried to do today. So it's episode 1. Let's keep that in mind. We will push through. Trevor May was excellent. Chris Rose was below average, but that's all you can get out of me. So don't forget to hit the subscribe, leave a comment, and that's how we roll. Trevor May, I'll see you in a few weeks here on the Chris Rose rotation.
Brother. Sounds good.
Good work.
See you then.